I mean, I wouldn't go obviously through all the treatments I've had here, but I have had quite a lot. I was on high dependency for 10 days, and the treatment I got there was second to none. It really was superb. I had complete blanket bath each day. The nurse allocated to me, it was a one-to-one, used to come to me about 20 minutes before she treated me to say, I'm coming to give you a blanket bath, so press your little button, that's the morphine button, so that I had the maximum sort of pain-free. And the cleanliness, the kindness, the nurse looking after me was responsible for keeping it clean round my bed, and I learned a lot there as an ex-nurse. And I wish I'd had some sort of treatment before I took up nursing. I would understand silly things like the noise of the moisture up an oxygen tube to the mask, the bubbling noise, which was quite loud actually. Anyhow, the treatment was wonderful. And I've been a long-term patient in the haematology department for about 10 years under Dr. Bertham, the haematologist who's a lecturer at this hospital at the university. And I come in every 5 weeks for blood transfusions. And again, the haematology department here is second to none. The kindness, the treatment, and also with you.
Indeed.
When they bring tea round, Peter's offered a drink, and he is welcomed as much as I do. I know all the staff now because I've known them for many years, and it seems such a happy unit, and the manager works extremely hard, is very much hands-on, and it really is a wonderful unit. I had another experience on the haematology day centre where I have my transfusions. During the night before at home, I had very, very severe chest pain, quite frightening really, and when I felt my pulse, I didn't have a proper heartbeat, it was just fluttering, and that went on for an hour and a half. And I thought I'd stick it out because I knew I was coming here that morning for my transfusion, and I did mention it to the nurse, and she got the haematology doctor who said, I'm not a cardiologist, so I'm sending you after your transfusion to A&E, and I was admitted from A&E to a medical assessment ward where I was greeted, and when she came to me, she said, hello, I'm so-and-so, I can't remember her name, of course, but this is your bed, here's a bell, if you want anything at all, just buzz for me and I will come. I had a hip replacement here, again, it was very friendly ward, very good, very kind, and again the treatment was extremely good. Now, because I have regular blood transfusions, and what I would like to do, because I think the donors are behind the scenes really, and to show the appreciation, because it's a sacrifice really for them to give their blood. You agree with that?
Yes,
yeah.
Indeed.
Yes. Only one negative, and that was pretty bad, and it's a ward I will always refuse ever to go on again, and that's AM3. I was taken there when I had my hip replacement. I had melena afterwards. I was only home for 2 days. My GP sent me back here, and from A&E, I was Peter drove me to A&E, and I was put onto AM3 after having the duodenal ulcer clipped, and I was wheeled there on my bed, and the nurse, who was the night nurse, was sitting at the station, and she pointed to the porter, that bed over there. She didn't look at me, and when he was leaving, he said to me, "The best of luck." And I had to lie there with my suitcase on one side of me and my crutches on the other, and because it was only 2 weeks, just over 2 weeks after my hip replacement, and nobody came to me all night. I didn't have a bell. I was completely ignored until the morning, and that didn't make me feel welcome. This happened 4 years ago when I had my hip replacement, but I would still now refuse absolutely to go onto that ward. It's just stayed with me that. And my daughter came to visit me. She came from North Yorkshire to visit me, and said afterwards when I got home, "I'm sorry, Mum, I had to leave so quickly, but I knew I was going to cry seeing you lying there." I was forgotten with my lunch one day until I asked, and they said, "Oh dear, we'll rustle up something," but when it came I couldn't eat it, it was just cold. It really was very unpleasant. Why it's important to mention this, what worries me is if a patient comes to this hospital for the first time and they're put on that ward and then discharged from there, I don't want them to think that is what the hospital's like, because it isn't. 99.9% of the time it is a wonderful hospital, and I wouldn't want to go anywhere else. I would certainly recommend friends, relatives. In fact, Peter was allowed to choose to come to this hospital for a hernia repair a few years ago, even from the Bury area, because our GP asked him where he wanted to go. But yes, I would certainly recommend it. I would recommend the kindness. You can't walk down a corridor in this hospital. If you stop to have a rest, somebody will come and say, "Are you all right?" The attitude seems good, excellent. Yes, I would certainly recommend it above all other hospitals. I may be very enthusiastic about that, but that's how I feel.
No, the only thing I could add, I think, is that on top of what Joan said, all of which I agree with, that you also get an impression of competence. And that's very important to the patient, I think, really. Yeah. And I mean, the proof of that is that when I had to choose, I chose to come here for this hernia operation.